Okay, as an introduction to fractions, I just want to make sure that everyone's aware of what a fraction is. So we'll start out with the same basic explanation that seems to be very popular because it's easy to draw. And I'm going to start out with a pie. Okay, I got a whole pie right now. If I eat the whole pie, I eat one pie. Now, what if I want to take that pie and break it up into more than one piece? Maybe I got a friend over and we want to share this pie. So I break it up into two pieces. Well, each of those pieces is a fraction of the original because I divided the original into two pieces. I broke it into two pieces. So I divided it. So each piece, so I'm going to put in a shaded side, that's my side, and the other feller gets the side without the shading. Each side of that is 1/2 of the pie. Now if I want to take that pie and break it up again, maybe I got some more people coming over. I take each half and I break it into a half. That gives me 4 pieces. So you can see that the bottom number now, instead of being 2, is going to be 4. So the bottom number is how many pieces you break the original into. The top number is how many of those pieces you are interested in or using, and in this case, shading. So if I shade these pieces, how many out of the 4 pieces, how many have I shaded? 1, 2, 3. That gives me 3/4. Okay, so that's basically in a nutshell what a fraction is. Now, sometimes you're going to have fractions that are written a little bit differently because if you think about it, if you only have one object, your top is always going to be smaller than the bottom. The numerator will always be smaller than the denominator. Because if you've only got 4 pieces, you can only take 4 or less of them. On the other hand, though, if I had 3 pies, 1, 2, 3 pies, and I broke all of them up into fourths because we all decided we like pie and we're going to eat a fourth of each pie. Each person gets a fourth. And the first pie is totally eaten. It's all gone. Second pie is totally eaten, so it's all gone. The third pie, we just ate one piece of it. So if you look at each pie individually, this one we ate 4 of the 4 pieces. So that's 4 divided by 4. The second one was the same way. It was 4 over 4 as well. On the last one, we ate 1 of the 4 pieces. So since all of these are fourths, they're all the same. We can add them together. They're all the same size. So when I add them together, that kind of introduces a concept of addition of fractions. You have to have the fractions with the same denominator to add them. Because if I tried to come over here and broke one like this, and I ate half of the pie, so I had half of this pie and a quarter of this pie, I have a half and a quarter. What can you do with it? Not a whole lot in that form. But if I break those halves in half, notice I have 2/4. Now I could add them together and I would have 3/4. Okay, just wanted to introduce that to the side. But now I'm going to add these together because I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. So I have 9 quarter-size pieces or fourth pieces, which is the same thing as 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9, and just keep the bottom. Now, a lot of people get uncomfortable with this, and they call this an improper fraction. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just that's what they named it back in the day. So it's an improper fraction. But a lot of times it's easier for people to make sense out of what's called a mixed number. And a mixed number has a whole number and a fraction with a numerator over the denominator. So if I look at these pies up here, in this case I have 1 whole pie, 2 whole pies, and a quarter of another pie. So that gives me the whole number being 2 because I had 2 whole pies, plus I had 1/4 of another pi, so I have 2 1/4. So if this improper fraction of 9/4 describes the same pieces of pi as 2 1/4, it should make sense that 9/4 equals 2 1/4. Now, how do I switch between them? Of course, most of y'all who watched the video on how to use your calculator, you know you can just hit the button in there, hit the second ABC button, you can do that. Otherwise, to convert a mixed number to a whole number, you just take the bottom, the denominator, times the whole number plus the top. So that would be 4 times 2 plus 1, and keep it over your original denominator. Use your order of operations. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 plus 1 is 9. That's 9/4, which is what we said it was. Now, if you want to go the other way, and you want to go from 9/4 to a mixed number, 9/4, remember we talked earlier about 9/4 being a fraction, but it's also a division problem. And remember, this is the one where you have to put the 9 inside, the 4 on the outside, and then just divide it. 4 goes into 9 2 times, and there goes my cuckoo clock. 2 times 4 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. And we just put our remainder, the 1, over the 4. So it's 2 1/4. So you can see it works out the same way. I hope this helps you understand a little bit more about fractions.